And this guy is doing an open door poo. An open door jump. Hello guys, welcome back. We are officially in September. It's the first episode of September. And usually I feel like September time is kind of back to school vibes. I feel like as you grow up going to school, for me anyway, I always still have that attitude when September comes. I'm like, it's a new start. You have a little bit of a refresh. I always think I'm going to change my life around in September. But we've had a little heat wave. So as far as I'm concerned, it's still August. We've got another week of summer. Turn our life around can take a stand back for the week. I'm saying enjoy the sun. I hope you're having a lovely week. Have a little Aperol spritz and let's make the most out of the heat wave. All absolute joy. I am glad actually because you can probably hear how echoey it is. I'm still not done. So I'm glad I've got the extra week because I'm clearly not ready to turn my life around. I still haven't got a settee. Do English people say settees? I feel like I'm very conscious when I say settee because nobody else says it and somebody pulled me up on it once. And now every time I got to say it, I'm like, should I be saying sofa? Anyway, sofa, settee, wherever. It still hasn't come. I really hope it's going to be here by next week. If it's not here by next week, definitely the week after. And I feel like when I get my sofa, I always do this, it's really bad. I'm like, when this happens, I'll da-da-da. But I do feel like when I get my sofa, it'll be the first time officially I'll have somewhere nice to record my podcast from. I might have even said this last week because honestly, it's all I'm thinking about. So I feel like when my sofa comes, I'm just going to be ready. There's going to be no stopping me. And yeah, I just feel like then I'll feel a bit more settled. I honestly feel like a potato. You know, I try not to talk down about myself, but it's been really hard this week to not do that. I've never felt more disgusting, but that's a lie. But anyway, okay, very random intro this week. Hope you're all doing well. Let's go straight into the story. I was with my ex for 4.5 years. He was the perfect guy until 2 years into the relationship, things started to change. He became a completely different person and not the man I fell in love with. I was with my ex for 4.5 years. He was the perfect guy until 2 years into the relationship, things started to change. He became a completely different person and not the man I fell in love with. Fast forward 2 years. Wow, okay. You stuck another 2 years into that. Well done. Fast forward 2 years, I had a very vivid dream about him and a girl. I don't know why this is making me laugh. We've all been there. I woke him up and described this girl to him and asked him if he knew her. He said no. I love that. Like, I've just dreamt about this random person. I'm going to describe her to you. Do you know her? Oh my God, he's obviously going to be like, no, because it's a fiction of your imagination. Not even your imagination of your actual dream. Fast forward another 5 months. I went through a bad couple of days with a family bereavement followed by a close friend bereavement. Oh my God. I'm sorry, that is horrendous. My ex got up for work, gave me a kiss and said, I'll see you when I get home. He never returned. Guys, it's been a while since we've had a story like this, but we definitely went through a phase where people were doing this. Can you even? So she's been with him 4 years. She's just lost a family member and a close friend. And her partner gets up and physically ghosts her. It's one thing to be ghosted via a message. Now that's bad enough. But to be physically ghosted, I just didn't even know, honestly, that existed until I started this podcast. I'd never heard anything like that. Thank God I haven't experienced it, touch wood. To me, that's just unbelievable because the worry that I would give somebody, was my reaction before, if my partner or my friend or anybody I was living with said, I'll see you later and then never returned home, the panic, because I would just be like, they've died, they've been killed. they've been in an accident, like something really bad's happened, and I just think, well, that's better than just breaking up with me. You absolute coward. I can't even imagine doing that to somebody. Mental. Okay, so yeah, he goes to work and never comes back. A few days later, I was looking on Facebook and his friend posted pictures of them at a party. Excuse me, sir. Be partying when you've ghosted me and left me in the lurch. And in one of the pictures was my ex. You won't believe this. And the exact girl from my dream, right down to the name. I'm gobsmacked. When I tell you that has left me speechless, well, obviously not speechless, because no doubt I'm going to talk about it for the next 20 minutes, but I need to recap, because she just said she described this girl to him in the dream, but she did actually say, and I just realised I forgot to mention that part, sorry. She said that she had this girl's name in her dream. So then when she woke him up, she described the girl to him and the name. And he said no, he didn't know anyone by that name or that description. And then she's looking at the pictures and she sees the girl that she dreamt about. That is absolutely insane. Was she a stranger, I wonder? Because I think it's really hard to dream of... Isn't it a thing where you can't dream of new faces or something? I don't know if that's a myth or not, but usually in your dreams they are either somebody you know or like a blurred face in there, I think. Well, I don't know, let me know your experience. I'm actually really into dreams. Wow. And guys, that's it. She never spoke to him again, as far as I can tell in this message. She just says... 3 years on, I'm living my best life in a new home with my 3 children, and he's not even an afterthought. Amazing, love that for you. I believe someone was looking over me when I had that dream. Definitely. Guys, this is one of the freakiest stories we've ever had, I think. I've never experienced anything like that. It would freak me out, but afterwards I would feel like she does, like somebody's looking out for me, like I would feel quite unstoppable, because I always believe in the universe and that dreams have meanings and a higher being and all this like spiritual stuff, and that to me just confirms it. Although it is a shame, because there's been so many situations where somebody dreams that their partner's cheated on them, and usually is a big joke, like all the memes you see when you wake up in the mood because you dreamt your partner cheated on you. Turns out there might be some truth in that, and I can only apologise for when this video comes out for anybody whose partner's dreamt that they've cheated on them. If you were their partner and you've cheated in the dream, I can only apologise, because if your girlfriend or boyfriend's listen to this, they're going to give you a real hard time today. So my thoughts are with you. Wow. Also, I find it very, I don't even know if interesting is the word, disgusting really. She was with this person for 2 years, and then she said he changed to a completely different person, yeah? So my guess is they would be having an affair around then, around the 2-year mark. Maybe, I don't know, but whatever, that's what you would assume. And then obviously they break up, and he becomes a different person again because he just ghosts her. And I find that crazy how you can be like married to somebody or be in a relationship with somebody for such a long time, and then as soon as you break up or as soon as they have fallen out of love with you or they're over the relationship, the way they treat you can be horrendous. And that we've had that in a lot of stories where like all of a sudden it's like they forget that you were ever anything to them, and they just treat you like, not even like a stranger, because you wouldn't even treat a stranger like that with the stuff they do. Like last week's story where he's with the girl in front of her and stuff, and this, like the pictures are all over Facebook. It's like they forget that they once loved you, and I just can't wrap my head around that. Because I just think when you break up with somebody, you still have to treat them with respect. They're still a person. And I would hate to think that I treated, an ex badly after the breakup and they think I'm a different person. Like I would always still speak to my exes, even that one that I always talk about, we broke up on holidays and it was so toxic and savage. Like, even we've spoken since and we've been absolutely fine. Because you were once in love with that person and you were friends with them and you cared for them, and just because you don't love them anymore in that way doesn't mean that the care has to go out the window. You can still be a decent human being. For me, I just think if anybody turns like that in a breakup, it just shows that's what they were like all along, and you're better off without them, because it's not natural for somebody's personality to change that much. So maybe they were actually hiding their real personality with you. Oh, there was actually a TikTok drama, right? I've been off work this week, guys. Now, I mentioned last week, I've had a full week off work, and the amount of TikTok I've watched is probably not healthy. Morning scrolls, because usually in the mornings before work, I get up and I have to do my morning routine, because otherwise I get anxiety about going into work. So I'm very thorough. I get up, I meditate, I journal, I don't go on social media probably until 8 a.m-ish, and even then it's usually like just to post my own stuff. Oh, without work, I haven't needed to journal or do meditation, because the anxiety just hasn't been there at all. Honestly, I thrive when I'm not in the office. I actually thrive. It's a joke. Anyway, so I've been into this TikTok drama. I've never even heard of this woman before, but suddenly I followed her through a divorce. And I even listened to a podcast about with her ex. But basically, she is getting a divorce, and it was all well. So I've listened to 2 episodes of them. I'm actually a little bit embarrassed to admit, but this is why I've got a podcast on dating and love, because I actually get fully invested to people's stories, right? So they get divorced. She files for divorce. And he's been on a podcast still. They've had a couple of episodes. They co-parenting, and, you know, I can tell in the episodes they've got different beliefs, but they're still friends. Anyway, it all started because I saw this TikTok about her, and she's basically apologising for even reposting a video. She's like, I can't even support him, and I regret even giving him a platform. Basically, she said that she doesn't recognise him. I did not marry that person. I don't know who this person is. Isn't that awful? Because people change so much, and I think especially in breakups, you like find yourself, you know, and they can become different people. So all the podcasts I'm listening to are out to date, and she's all friendly, and I'm listening like, you don't know what's coming. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. Remember to follow, like, subscribe, comment, just basically show me some love and help get the podcast out. I know I ask every week, but it means everything to me when I see your messages and when I reach somebody new, and it just helps me get more stories. So yes, help me to help you. Yeah, let's just keep getting the podcast out there. I appreciate all your support. But yeah, as I said, the more people we reach, then the more stories we can get back to share and dissect. So thank you. So yeah, I've been off this week. Actually, when this comes out, it'll be my first day back in the office. So say a little prayer for me. Because as I said, honestly, I just thrive. It's not even not being in work, 'cause I still have to do bits of work and stuff. It's not that. I just thrive being at home. I simply love it. I didn't leave the flat for 3 days. Literally 3 days. Every morning I woke up and I told myself, I'm going to go for a walk today. Did I? No. And did I care? No. And I thought, you know what? When I go back to work, you know what it's like. You're just non-stop, especially in London. You've got the commute. You see people after work. You're doing stuff on your lunch. Like, everything gets so busy for me, and I just thought, I'm just going to listen to my body and chill out. I've been having multiple naps in the day. It's been absolutely divine, and I'm so much happier, and I haven't had one bout of anxiety. So it's been very nice. But it's ending today, so yeah, please say a little prayer for me. Right, I've got another story this week, and this one I took a really long time to answer, because I don't know if you remember when I said on a past episode, I'm not going to open messages until I'm ready to record. And then when I opened this one, she actually asks for advice. So yeah, I feel really bad because like a month has passed. So she's probably already made her mind up. I don't know, I have asked her for an answer. So if she gets back to me, I will do a follow-up on this next week because, yeah, it's very, very interesting. So here's what she says. I've been with my boyfriend for 4 years. I was 17 when I first started seeing him and he was 24. He is honestly the sweetest, most gentle person I know and would do anything for me. We bought a house and have lived together for nearly 2 years. However, around 8 months ago, when he was always out, either working or playing golf out with friends, I was lonely and started texting another guy. We were flirting and it was so nice to have some attention from a man, as I haven't felt that in a long time. I got caught before I went any further, and honestly I'm glad about that. We worked through it and he wanted us to start again, as he didn't realise I was feeling lonely and depressed. Since then he has been amazing, always giving me attention and treats me like a queen, but the last few weeks I have been feeling like I just want to leave. I want to travel the world and party and have fun like a 21-year-old. Instead, I feel like I've been married for 10 years. He's done all his partying before I met him and travelled with friends, etc., and I haven't done any of that. I know one part of me feels like he's the fairy tale ending I always wanted, but the other part of me wants to live and be a kid and party and travel the world. I feel like an arsehole and I don't know what to do. Do I leave him and break his heart, as I know he deserves better than this? That made me sad. Or do I stay and just shut up and get on with it? I feel like I'm a dick. So harsh on yourself, love. So harsh, and there's no need for that. I feel like I'm a dick, so what if I leave and I realise what a mistake I've made and the grass isn't greener? What will your advice be? So my first question there, firstly, is why can't you party and travel the world? Because you don't need to be single for that. I still go on holidays and go on nights out with my friends, even though I've got a boyfriend, and he does the same. We still have separate holidays, separate nights out. So you can definitely still travel the world and go on mad nights out in your relationship. You don't have to be in a relationship and that's it. For me, that's not a sign of a good relationship if you've got no freedom and you have to do everything together. So that would be my first thing. And then my second thing is, if you ask yourself, could you do that with him? And the answer is yeah, but you don't want to. Do you really mean partying and traveling the world as hooking up with people? Like, when you say partying, do you actually mean going on a night out for a few drinks and a dance? Or do you mean going out, kissing a boy, I don't know, giving him your number, going back to his wherever and having all that drama? And my gut and heart tells me that that's what you mean. And if that's the case, you can't do that with a boyfriend. And I will actually applaud you for not cheating, which people might disagree with that. Well done, she didn't cheat, she's in a relationship, whatever. But like you said yourself, you were so glad when you got caught messaging that guy. And I thought that was really nice, because you obviously don't want to cheat. You're obviously unhappy. And you need to give yourself credit, like calling yourself a dick. And this goes for anyone. I think when we're in relationships, you care about the other person so much, and when you know you're not feeling it, you feel so guilty and you feel like a dickhead, but actually you're still staying in the relationship for the other person. And an actual dickhead would just go out and cheat, and I'm not talking to you anymore, and I'm going to go out and knock my phone off and just behave that way. So we need to give ourselves more credit when we make ourselves unhappy for the other person. Like, it probably shouldn't be rewarded, but at the same time, it is a really good thing to do that. You're not just going to go out, you're not just going out cheating and treating him badly. So give yourself some credit for that. And I also think when you said, or when she said that she was messaging a guy she hadn't felt attention for a long time, I think that is just proof of stuff I've said before. I think I even said it last week, that when people cheat, or, you know, I mean, she didn't technically cheat, but to some people she'd be cheating, yeah. When people do that, it is just 90% of the time reflection of what they're going through themselves. So she was feeling really depressed and lonely and didn't feel like she was getting her intention and feeling lost, and that's why she did it. And I don't know, I just think that's nice to remember. For all the stories we get sent from people that are going through shit, I think it's just like a little proof coming from the other side. We don't often get these stories like from the other side where she's actually just saying, I did that because I was depressed and lonely, and actually since it came out the relationship has been so much better. And well done on your boyfriend. To be fair, he does sound lovely. Like, he understood that you were depressed and lonely and he didn't hold it against you, and instead he worked on the relationship, and I think that's really nice. However, it's obviously not enough, and can I just say I understand, because you're 21. This is a bold assumption of me to make, but you might have lost your virginity to him, or you might have not slept with that many people before him, so you haven't had sexual experiences, and you haven't had life experiences. And honestly, I went through a similar thing, and my life started at 25. I've said this before, right? Because I was in long-term relationships when I was 15 to 21, I would say, with 2 different guys. And then I was single because I was in Wales, and I was like, I'm literally never going to date anyone from you. No offence to anyone back there, but it just wasn't all for me. So I waited until I was 25, and I am so grateful for that time at 25, because that is just when you start meeting new people, you start having better sex, you get older, you know what you want, you live by yourself. And for me, like, living with friends as well. Living with friends was the best thing. I've only ever lived with friends, and then my boyfriend. I've never had to live by myself or with like a stranger or anything. And that was just the best time. Like, there's no best oh my god, by the way, I'm like, let me give you my advice by telling you all the best things that happen when you're single and young. I will come back to being serious, but there's just nothing better than when you go out with your friends and you have a wild night, and then you're all living together, and then the next day you wake up all hungover and you go in the living room and you talk about what's happened, and you're like, oh my god, I'm dying, and then you order a takeaway together. Those are honestly like the best times, and I always say I am so glad that I had that in my 20s. And also, your boyfriend's still really young, 24, going out to play golf, and reckons he's done all his partying. I'm sure he's got some more partying in him. Like, I partied hard from 25, because in that moment, right, this is just a little story of my own, but I moved to London, well, technically at 24, and then I turned 25, and when I turned 25, I was in my own flat. So that's when it felt proper, because I was just staying with a friend before. So I was in my own flat at 25, and I was like, this is going to be so fun. And guys, I was a bit wild. I remember going out one of my first nights out in London, and I kissed like 4 boys, and I was grouping them together. Like, I would kiss one boy, and then I'd go and kiss another boy. Sorry, Mum, if you're listening, but I was just having fun. And then I'd see them both on the dance floor, and I would like put my arm around each of them and expect them to talk to each other and just like be in a big group with me. I just was having so much fun. I wasn't sleeping around or anything, not just anything wrong with that, but just stuff like that on nights out. And then I was dating people and going on all these nice dates, different places, and seeing all these different people, and I just loved it. And then I met this guy, and I didn't want to get with him straight away, but I knew that there was something there. I won't go into the details of that. Anyway, it got to the point where we were going to be more than friends, and I knew that getting with him, it was going to be serious. You just know, don't know, when you meet somebody that it's going to be serious. And I remember thinking, this is the worst timing for me. I'm so not ready for this. I don't want to be in a relationship. But also I still wanted to see him every day, and he was a lot older, well, like 8 years older, so in his 30s, 8 or 9 years coming, but anyway, so it was just like going that way, and I booked to go to Bali on my 25th birthday. I've spoken about this before. If you're not an OG, basically, when I turned 25, I had like a mental breakdown, and I was like, I need to go to Bali alone. That was just key. And this guy had asked me to be his girlfriend, and I was like, I'm not ready until I come back from Bali, because I was like, I need to do this one trip and I need to get it out of my system, and then I'll be with you, and then I can do it. And that's what I did. But honestly, even though I'd said yes to being his girlfriend, I still wasn't ready. And I just think that's what's happening with this girl. She loves the guy, it's nothing to do with him. It's just timing. And anyone who says, oh, it doesn't matter about timing, you make the right time happen with the right person, I personally think that's bullshit. I think you really need timing. I could meet Matt, and yeah, as romantic as I am, I would like to think that if we'd met 7 years ago, that we'd be where we are. But would we? Because I would still be that same person. I wouldn't want to spend time with him. I definitely wouldn't have moved in with him after 6 months. I would have still wanted to be going out. Like when I got with that ex, I didn't go on any holidays with him because I was like, I'm going on my girls' holidays still. We were still felt quite separate because I just did not want it. I just wasn't ready. And it didn't have anything to do with him. It's just timing. Timing is really, really important. And unfortunately, timing's not on your side right now. Or maybe it is. Maybe you've had your time with him, which was lovely, and you've had your first love, and it's been a really nice experience. And now it's time for the chapter to close. Also, it's interesting that you're saying, do I break up with him and break his heart, or do I shut up and get on with it? To me, that means you want to break up. It doesn't mean, do I stay with him because he does make me so happy? It's do I just basically quash all my own needs for his, or do I just continue to make him happy? And ultimately, you can't keep that up. So my advice would be, firstly, see if you can just go out and go on holidays without him, and that literally might just solve everything. Second advice would be, if it's anything to do with sex, literally just have a conversation with him and just explain to him maybe you want to spruce that up. I don't know, you haven't mentioned that. And then if those two things don't work and you realise that actually you probably just want to have a wild stage again with different people, then you just have to explain to him what's going on and just explain his timing. And I do believe that if they're the right person, they'll always come back to you. I am very romantic like that. I do think if you're meant to be, it will happen. There must be loads of people. Carrie and Aidan in Sex and the City, Slash and Just Like That, which, by the way, spoiler alert, they got back together. I thought, I can't believe this. I'm so happy for them. I've always loved Aidan. She even says that maybe getting with Big was a big mistake. Couldn't even believe that they put that in. I was like, this is wild. And then she buys a big house for them, and Aidan tells her he can't come anymore. He's got to stay with his teenage son, who sounds like an arsehole. And will you wait 5 years for me? 5 years? Sorry? Wait 5 years for you? Is that what dating is when you're in your 50s? 5 years? I could never. I think I've had, top of my head, 4 boyfriends in the last 5 years. Have I? Yeah. I've had 4 relationships, although admittedly each one of them was broken up apart from one, so maybe I would have been better off waiting 5 years for somebody. Maybe that's what she's thinking. But wild. But I mean, they did come back together. There's obviously going to be a 3rd season, so we'll find out what happens then. But yeah, I do believe the right person will always come back to you. So yeah, I hope that answers it. I've obviously spoken about loads of things, but I would be careful about throwing anything away. This obviously goes for everyone. Hopefully everything I'm saying you can still resonate with. You can still interpret it to your own situations, because I do think sometimes, I've just seen myself in the mirror and I look so shiny. I do think sometimes you feel like this, and you are right. Sometimes you worry that the grass is green and then you get there and it's not. So you have to be really sure that you don't just throw something away. And an example of this I did was when I was younger and I was with my first boyfriend, and he never used to let me go out. I've mentioned it before. And I was like, I've had enough of this and I want to go to my friend's 18th birthday party. I'm breaking up with you. Broke up with him, went to the party. It was the worst party. I'm sorry if you ever's listening, but it was not... First I have to backtrack. Oh my God, I have to backtrack. Nothing says a breakup more like getting a haircut. I broke up with this guy, and the very first thing I did was cut a full fringe. Not even bangs, a full fringe. That was the first thing I did. And then the second thing I did was go to the party. And did I have a good night? Absolutely not. I was sat there dressed as a nurse with a full-on fringe thinking, what have I done? Needless to say, a week later I gave my ex a call and we rekindled. So be very careful. I think we stayed together like another year after that, so it wasn't just like we got back together and then broke up again. I fully did another year. I was like, whew, that was a mistake going out on the streets with this fringe. Let me come back to safety. But then I did end up breaking up with him for that same reason. It was just at that point I was fully ready. Okay, I feel like I'm just saying loads of stories today. As always, let me know your thoughts about the episode, if there's anything you want in particular, because, wow, I've been talking for like 30 minutes. I feel like it's gone by really quickly today. But I have got another story to end on because my friend sent me a voice note of it and I have been laughing so much. Okay? So my friend had been dating this guy. She'd been on 10 plus dates with him, but I hadn't stayed at his yet. So she stayed at his for the first time, and he has an ensuite bedroom, bathroom. So the next day, she is getting ready to leave. He's in the bathroom, and she's sitting on the bed, putting her shoes on. And you can see the bathroom from the bed, and she looks through. And this guy is doing an open door poo. An open door jump. She was so mortified that she was just like, okay, I'm gonna go, I'm running late, and left, and was like, I'm immediately never seeing him again. Like, I'm breaking up with him. I mean, they weren't boyfriend girlfriend, but she was like, I cannot see this guy again. However, they had tickets for a show the following Friday, so she was like, I want to go to the show. Screw it, I'm going to go with him. So they meet up, watch the comedy show, and he obviously notices that she's really standoffish. So he says to her after, is everything okay? And she has to take him aside and pull him over and explain to him that the reason she's been acting funny is because she doesn't want to see him again, because she watched him be on the toilet. She watched him shit, basically. I hate the word shit. But she watched him shit. And he said, that's just who I am. Since when is leaving the door open when you go to the bathroom a personality trait? That's just who I am. What, somebody who can't shut the door at them and somebody who likes an audience as they go to the toilet? I can't wrap my head around it. You're not mortified. If that was me, I would be like, even if that was who I was and I left door open every time I went to the bathroom, if somebody said that to me, I'd be like, oh, I am so sorry. I would be so embarrassed. But this guy seemingly is like, I would rather lose you than shut the door on that bathroom because that's who I am. I just want an audience as I take my morning dump. And if you can't stick around for that, then you don't deserve me. I'm sorry, outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. My friend was like, no human should see another human do that. My mother would divorce my father if he did that. And I mean, I don't know. It's probably a bit different if you're in like a proper long-term relationship with them and you're living together. But a guy you're dating and it's your first time at theirs. No, it's way too much, way too soon. I would have an actual meltdown. There'd be no chance I'd be going to that show afterwards. You would never see me again. I would be so mortified, but I would also find it so funny. I just wouldn't be able to do anything with that person again. It would just be, oh my God, it would be too much for me to handle on all levels. So yeah, that's what I'm finishing up on, guys. Thank you so much for listening and for watching. Please leave me a review on Spotify. I'm on my 5-star streak, so thank you. I've had quite a bit of hate this week, I'm not going to lie. Thank you to the people that comment back to the haters for me. I don't know if Amy still listens, but shout out to Amy who got in there with me. There was a guy on Facebook the other week, he was awful, and Amy had my back, and she sent like 3 messages to him. Yeah, thank you to those that fight my battles for me. I've had a bit of hate this week, which is fine, whatever, I don't care, but if you enjoy the episode, then come and leave me a little positive review, because that will help. And help if you like a reel, share it, etc, etc. This is just what we need to help the podcast keep growing, and I appreciate it so much, and I love chatting to you. So I'm gonna wrap it up. Hopefully next week I'll be on the sofa settee. It's coming. Please expect a more aesthetically pleasing background soon. But thank you for watching, guys. Hope you all have a good week in the sunshine, and I'll speak to you next Tuesday.